I love printing. I love printing. I love it. I love printing. Hey everybody, want to welcome you back to another session with me, Warren Werbitt, printer to printer, or anybody who prints anything on anything. Today we have a guest, David Sasson from Hubschercorp, used to be known as Hubscher Ribbon. How's it going, David?
Great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for joining. Before I ask you any questions, tell me a little bit about Hubschercorp / Hubscher Ribbon. I think it used to be Hubscher Ribbon in the old days, but you do a little bit more today, right?
Yeah, we were under Hubscher Ribbon, but as the evolution of time, evolution of the business, we decided to change the name to Hubscher Corp. Family-owned business going into its 75th year.
Wow.
Third generation in place right now. As I said, it started out doing some garment labeling for the garment industry, the washing labels, the size tabs, and all of that when the company started. Evolved into ribbon, and over time evolved into packaging. So basically, we've become a one-stop shop for most retailers.
Cool. So I remember way back when I was in the garment industry, that's where I came across Hubscher Ribbon originally. So I see the name change. How did you end up in packaging? I mean, sorry, just give me a little bit about what kind of packaging.
So basically, we sell to the mom and pop retailer, which unfortunately there aren't as many as there was when I started out 30 years ago, as mass market has taken over the world. And for us to evolve and for the business to grow, we had no choice but to evolve as well. So to stay just in the garment industry where everything now, or mostly everything, is overseas, we had to adapt to keep us, to keep us healthy and to keep the meaning of what Hubscher does. So we went into the ribbon business where we still manufacture domestically in our Lachine facility in Montreal. And based on the evolution, the ribbon, which always tied in, no pun intended, to the packaging part of it, we got into the bags, the boxes, everything that you do get on a retail level that a retail will need for you to leave the store with.
So that would be, just for anyone, that's like printed wrapping paper, wax paper, printed boxes, anything blanks or full coverage, doesn't matter.
That's correct. Basically, whatever the retail will need to put their product in is something we can supply them.
Okay, so question. So first of all, for people listening, you don't aside from the ribbons, you don't actually produce anything yourself on equipment. You have your suppliers.
That's correct.
Right?
So right now we still do all the garment labels. We do print in-house, as well as the printed ribbon, we print in-house. When it comes to the packaging aspect, the bags, the boxes, the tissue paper, we do that all overseas we have a group of factories that we work with, that we've been working with for over 30, 35 years, and they're our global partners.
So why are people coming to you when price is pretty much an issue today and not going directly? Like, what is it that, I mean, I know you've been in business a long time. There've been a lot of companies around a long time, and some are still here, some are not. But what is it that's special about you that keeps the retailers coming to you? Because retailers are pretty tough to begin with, right?
Yeah, dealing with retailers is not the easiest thing, but based on our experience, based on the knowledge we have and the factories that we work with, we make their life a lot easier. For them to have to start designing, find the factory, deal with the factory, quality control, we offer all of that to them at a price. Yes, we are making money off of it, of course. I mean, that's normal because we're offering a service. But what we're charging them, it's not feasible for them to have to start doing this themselves.
Right. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely makes sense. Now, how have you been affected by the world of digitization, printing going digital, quicker turnarounds, more variable options, items like that?
In some ways, it does affect us, but overall, it has not, because our business, will talk for the ribbon part of it. You can print ribbon on a digital machine that will print one roll every 45 minutes. When we're doing the old-fashioned way, hot stamping with foil and the machines that we have, we're printing 20 rolls every 45 minutes. So the efficiency and the old way is still more efficient than the new way. Yes, the pricing sometimes varies a bit, but based on the amount of time it takes to use the digital machines, it's still not where we want to go. We're still old-fashioned, family business, and we still keep it old school.
Hey, and I guess once you own it, it's worth it. Um, would you say then that the retailers that you're working with are ordering well in advance and are better at planning?
Well, obviously, since COVID and everything that's been going on with the supply chain, we had to completely readjust how we work and how we work with our customers. We normally had a 30-day production time and a 30-day delivery time. We are still on the 30-day production because we have great control of our factories, but the ocean freight and even the FedEx, whatever it is, we have zero control over. The delays are just outrageous. So we had to evolve and change how we work with our customers, doing projections, analysis, and even stocking more than we ever did for them because they're bringing in more now to be safe. And for me, I sleep better knowing I have the product here than worrying where it is sitting out on the ocean.
Hey, I think first of all, I think you're lucky if your customers are, working well with you that they're giving you to buy inventory to have inventory. The From everyone that I speak to, the supply chain thing really did mess everybody up in a big way. So I guess when some of the stuff that you're buying, when you were shipping it over in containers, when the cost of the containers was out of control on a per unit price, did it get crazy, or because you could pack a container with a lot of little items that it was reasonable?
So basically, I mean, the containers back prior to COVID were, let's say, $3,000. They peaked at $28,000. So what we did notice is a lot of retailers either didn't go ahead with new projects because they just didn't have the budget for it. When you're talking that kind of money, it's just not feasible. But as Hubscher, we are lucky that we have a very wide and broad customer base that we were able to consolidate a lot of orders of smaller orders and help share the costs with our customers through consolidation.
Do you have competition from local manufacturers of the products that you sell?
So we think we do, and yes, is local competition. And I believe when the containers were at the high rate of $28,000, the domestic production did kick in and people did switch. However, what we learned over that time is it's very nice that to say they're producing domestically, but the raw materials are still coming in from overseas. So they had the same delays that we had, except it was printed domestically. But for some reason, and I still don't have the answer, why everything still has to originate from there. So they are domestic production, but the original raw materials are coming in from overseas. So that's where we were able to ride that wave and say, hey, overseas still works.
Wow. And where's the pricing today of a container?
It's come down till about $5,000 to $6,000.
So it's almost back to normalish.
Yeah, and we see it dropping a bit more, but we'll call it the new norm will be in the $4,000 to $6,000 range, but it's manageable right now. A product that cost $1 went up to $2.50. So now it's at $1.25. It's still manageable, and it makes sense for the retail to go ahead with new projects.
And does every container have a fuel surcharge attached to it?
There was every surcharge that you can think of they came up with.
And as they like today, I know FedEx and those guys still have fuel surcharge on their invoice. Do you have that from container companies?
Yeah, we have a COVID surcharge, a fuel surcharge, a water surcharge. We have an everything surcharge.
And the customers pay it knowingly or fight it?
Basically, what we do is to benefit our customers is we want to be open with them and honest with them. So we give them a landed price, whether it's into the Canada or into the US. We don't want any surprises after we tell them the product's whatever, $1.25. Oh, and by the way, you owe another $2,000-$3,000 for this. We don't like to do that. We like to give them a delivered price. They know what it's going to cost them, and they appreciate that much more.
So does that mean that your margin's potentially affected?
100%. Basically working with retailers, being in business for so long, and these retailers are our partners. We had to do what we can to make sure that they remain our partner and that we're both able to survive. So we worked very closely with them. They know the situation as everybody did, but we worked very closely with them to make sure what they needed, the price they needed, that we were able to offer it to them.
So I get this question asked to me. I'll tell you my response after, but how do you see things going in the future?
So we were lucky. We rode out COVID very well. Our customer base is broad and solid. I am a bit concerned going forward with the current times that we're in, recession, inflation. I am a bit nervous. But because we do offer many different products, it gives us a bit of a range where we could ride this second wave, which I believe is going to come. COVID was the first. I think inflation, recession is going to be the second. We learned a lot about how to run the company, staffing, and all of that. So if we run a lean ship, we're going to be good going forward.
So let me ask you, you mentioned staffing. How are you with labor and people working with you or finding people? Do you need people?
So again, very fortunate, and to the testament of the company, our newest employee has been here 10 years. We don't have anybody under 10 years. You know, the odd one here or there comes and
Right.
goes, but everybody is 25 to 30 years plus. Our CFO just retired last year after 35 years.
Wow.
So great
Wow.
place to work, obviously. I mean, the employees appreciate it. We do what we have to do, and that's the testament to why Hubscher's been around for so long. We have great staff who know the business and who know the job.
And I guess at the same time, you've got some great customers that rely on you, continue to rely on you.
Correct. I mean, I'm not family, but I go on the premise that this is a family business. Our partners are families, our customers part of the family. And yes, we lose some, we gain some. That's part of, it's part of life. But again, a good chunk of our customers have been around for just as long as we have.
Wow. So it's like it really is an old fashioned, so to speak, family business.
And it's how, like I said, it's how we still run it. Yes, things have changed. Obviously, you have to evolve, but doesn't mean you have to evolve in the way where you have to be cutthroat and with a whip and everything. You still got to treat people properly, and your customers and your employees are the business. So without them, I got nothing.
Hey, listen, I think most of us realize that without the customer, there is nothing, right? And the employees have to realize without customers, they don't have anything.
They're the ones that sign our checks every day and every week in theory. So we have to do what we have to do to keep the customer. Sometimes you have to bite your tongue. Sometimes you have to smile when you don't want to. But at the end of the day, they need you just as much as we need them.
And are you constantly on the lookout for new products, or are your customers requesting things from you that you then source? Like how do you work that way?
It goes both ways. So basically, not much changes in ribbon, not much changes in a bag or a box. Yes, there's some sustainability, recyclable that has come into play over the last couple of years. But if you go into any shopping center, into any mall, a shopping bag's a shopping bag. We've gone
Right.
from plastic to paper to reusable, which is where we are now because plastic is banned in most places. But the concept of the product has been around and will always be around. The process hasn't changed much either. We use a water-based ink versus an alcohol-based ink, as you would know. Things like that change. But besides that, it's really the industry has not changed much. And our customer needs a shopping bag. It's a shopping bag. It can be vary in size, vary in color, vary whether it's recyclable or not. But besides that, it's still a shopping bag.
I'm smiling because I love it. I always said print, no matter how you slice it, it's not going anywhere. And with what you're doing, I guess it's some of the staples that just aren't going anywhere because every time you go into a store, regardless of what level the store's at, they wrap it, they ribbon it, it goes in a bag, and you leave.
At the
Right?
end of the day, that's it. Sometimes when times are tough, they may not give you that extra piece of tissue paper, or they might not this. But at the end of the day, you need to walk out with something. And that's
Wow.
where we're sort of lucky. We're a bit of a commodity item to retail. They might order less if business is bad, but they still need it one way or the other.
Pretty cool, actually. It's not often I speak to old school rock and roll businesses that are dealing at that type of level. A lot of the printers that I speak to, there's a lot of change up, a lot of variable, but different end of the business. I mean, I'm sure, and the retailers actually are buying one end from you, but then they're doing their marketing and their data and their mailing with other printers and adapting to different ways over there.
Yeah, and also the online business, as you know, obviously has taken off. So the corrugated part of the business, the resealable envelopes, everything that Amazon uses, all these retailers getting into as well. So it's not something new. It's just something that has taken off.
Cool, cool. Wow. All right. First of all, I appreciate the time. Anything you want to add before I cut you off, like I normally do to everybody?
Things haven't changed. That's good to know. You know what? It's just like I said, when you're out there as a retailer or as a customer, make sure you do your homework. Make sure you come to the right person or company to deal with. Because these days with online, everybody offers you everything, but you have no clue who you're dealing with. So it might be nice to buy a bag for 3 cents, but you cannot buy a bag for 3 cents. So just beware of what's out there.
Well, it's funny that you say that because when I was doing the print and the whole manufacturing thing, and we would even business cards, which I always hated, but everybody needed to do. People would say to me, "Oh, online company, online company." I'd say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I'd say, "But the price they're quoting you is not what you think you're getting all the time." I said, "The other thing is you're paying me more so that when you get the job, if you got a problem, you can pick up the phone and scream at me. You haven't paid for it yet. Once
Well,
you've paid for it, you're stuck."
right. And you started asking what our niche is. That is exactly the niche. We will deliver. You don't want it. It's on my head. If you're going online or direct to China, you've already paid 100% of it before it even crossed into Canada or into the United States.
Right.
So all this is worth dealing with a company like Hubscher. We're there for you. We support you. There's a problem. We're going to deal with the problem. Going direct, good luck trying to reach somebody.
Hey, I've learned a long time ago that not everybody could be everything to everyone, and you just have to be smart about what you do, and you have to set your expectations right,
And like
and you
I
have to
said,
deal with the experts.
that's right. And there's a reason we've been around for as long as we have. I mean, that's to me that's the testament. That's all that really matters. People can open a business every day and they close every day. If you've been around and you've survived all that's been going on in the last decade, it's the testament to why you should be working with us. It's just that simple.
Cool, love it, love it, love it. Anyways, thank you. Thanks for the time. For everybody who watched it, I hope you went to the end. I hope you learned something about old school, new school. Bottom line is you got to work with your customers. You got to have the relationship. You got to speak. You got to know. Everything is a two-way streak. Nothing's one way. If it's one way, you're going to have a problem somewhere. David, thanks again.
Thank
Everybody else, keep tuning in, printer to printer, on what they think. Warren Werbitt, also known as the Print Whisperer. I love print, and that's all that you need to know.